I never thought I'd witness an SUV sink into a front lawn like it was being swallowed by a living creature. Yet there I stood, coffee in hand on my porch, watching Meredith Caldwell's gleaming monstrosity of a vehicle vanish half a foot into my meticulously maintained grass. Her shrieks pierced the early morning calm as she abandoned the sinking beast and stomped up my driveway, mud splattering in every direction. What she didn't realize was that the entire disaster had been crafted by my own hands, all within the bounds of legality. Life in Brookstone Hollow used to be the epitome of suburban serenity. I had purchased my home 3 years ago, intending to work remotely, bask in quietude, and cultivate a lawn so immaculate that retirees would tip their caps as they strolled past. And for a while, it was just that, a lush, vivid carpet of green that seemed almost unreal. I had a regimen: morning irrigation, mid-afternoon trims, and a merciless campaign against even a single dandelion. Then Meredith moved into houses down, and my pastoral haven became a battlefield. Meredith was unforgettable. Her voice could shatter glass, and her SUV's engine roared with the grace of a jet turbine in a monastery. She insisted she wasn't one of those Merediths, which of course meant she was worse. Within her first week, she began parking on my lawn under the guise of quick school pickups or brief errands. It wasn't an accidental tire grazing the curb, it was the entire flank of her vehicle, sunken into my yard, leaving tire marks like battle scars. At first, I chose diplomacy. I erected a small, courteous sign: "Please respect the grass." Meredith laughed the first time she saw it. The second time, she knocked it over with her bumper. That marked our first true exchange. "Seriously, you're upset over a bit of grass, honey?" she mocked, dismissing my concerns entirely. I approached the HOA, naively believing in their authority. Unbeknownst to me, Meredith was a sitting board member. Any illusions I had about impartial governance quickly dissolved. Letting it go was what my friends advised. Stress isn't worth it, they said. But principles mattered, and my lawn wasn't just turf. It was a reflection of patience and dedication. It was a rainy Wednesday when inspiration struck. Meredith's SUV barreled over the curb as usual, but this time, the saturated earth betrayed her. I watched, transfixed, as her tires spun helplessly, spraying mud across the once immaculate lawn. Her fury was immediate and unfiltered. "Your grass ruined my car," she shrieked, as if nature itself had conspired against her. I said nothing. Instead, I smiled inwardly, because at that moment, a diabolical idea rooted itself in my Minden idea, so perfectly petty and so impeccably lawful that I could hardly believe my luck. If she was determined to treat my yard like a parking lot, I would turn it into the most treacherous, vehicle-swallowing expanse she'd ever encountered, utterly within the letter of the law. Thus began the creation of what I would come to call the Brookstone Bog. My nights became a blur of research. Landscaping ordinances, HOA regulations, municipal environmental incentives devoured them all. One concept stood out: a bioswale, a shallow, vegetated trench designed for stormwater management and, if engineered correctly, a veritable Venus flytrap for unsuspecting SUVs. I began the transformation under cover of darkness. Garden liners, specialized soil, turf engineered for deceptive firmness, all painstakingly layered to mask the treacherous pit beneath. I installed a drainage system that funneled rainwater into an underground chamber lined with clay, maintaining a constant state of soggy betrayal just beneath the surface. Above it all, pristine sod lay like an innocent welcome mat. Meredith, oblivious to my nocturnal construction, continued her assaults. Each new rut she carved into my yard only fueled my resolve. When my swamp trap was finally complete, it was a masterpiece, and it only needed one good rainstorm to prime it. 2 days of steady showers did the trick. That morning, I stood with my coffee, barely containing my excitement, as Meredith's familiar SUV rounded the corner. Without hesitation, she mounted the curb and bliss her Arroganza drove straight into the kill zone. There was a brief, almost imperceptible pause as her front tires breached the fragile crust. Then sudden, glorious descent. Her shriek was music. Mud churned violently under her spinning wheels. She flailed out of the car, high heels sinking into the mire, rage radiating from her like a storm cloud. Neighbors emerged from their homes, pretending to check mail or walk dogs, but really savoring the spectacle. The crowning touch came when the tow truck she summoned also fell prey to the swamp, its front wheels succumbing to the carefully engineered bog. Meredith's humiliation became communal entertainment. Still, I knew this would not end her vendetta. Thus, I escalated. I invoked a Green Initiative clause buried in our HOA guidelines, officially designating my yard a bioswale conservation project complete with city approval. Meredith's protests were nullified by stamped permits, and buzzwords like stormwater runoff mitigation and pollinator habitat. I added subtle decorative touches, frog statues, solar pond lights, native grasses artfully masking the traps. I installed small, polite signs, wetland restoration in progress. Meredith fumed. She plotted. She surveilled. One evening, I caught her scattering gravel onto the edge of my lawn, an unauthorized improvement. Thanks to my trail cameras, I had the footage archived and shared with the HOA and local code enforcement. The resulting fine was substantial. Meredith's fury, once thunderous, became pitiful sputtering. She waged a paper war, filing frivolous complaints, noise violations, unauthorized wildlife, red frogs, light pollution from the path lights. Each time, I countered with documentation, permits, and occasionally a well-placed bless your heart. Eventually, the HOA board, wary of her antics, voted to bar vehicles from parking on lawns across the entire community. Meredith's influence evaporated, but the masterpiece moment came later. In an act of petty brilliance, I organized Brookstone's first annual swamp soiree. Invitations adorned with cartoon frogs invited neighbors to visit the historic site, where arrogance met Mother Nature. The turnout exceeded every expectation. Families brought lawn chairs and coolers. Children splashed at the swamp's edge. Tiki torches illuminated the bioswale, while a rented fog machine lent an ethereal air. I placed a rented canoe upright at the center with a plaque, in memory of Meredith's bumper. Meredith, of course, could not resist. She arrived, disguised behind oversized sunglasses and tight-lipped disdain. She prowled the party's perimeter, nostrils flaring. I approached her with a courteous nod, clad in a t-shirt emblazoned with "Swamp It Like It's Hot." "Glad you could join us," I said cheerfully. Her response was a hiss. "You made me a laughing stock." "No, Meredith," I replied smoothly. "Your tires did that all on their own." She fled, nearly tripping into another soft patch. Days later, the inevitable "for sale" sign appeared on her lawn. Her departure was unceremonious, a quiet, unnoticed retreat. No one mourned. No farewell parties. Only relief. I left a parting gift on her porpoise ceramic frog and sunglasses, smiling eternally. Standing there, surveying my thriving wetland, I reflected not just on the absurdity of suburban politics, but on the power of patience, creativity, and lawful mischief. In Brookstone Hollow, Meredith had arrived with chaos. She left swallowed by silency, and my swamp waited, ever patient, for the next tire to bold to respect its boundaries.